Right. Welcome, people of interest here. I'm Mahatma and I am with Lucy over here, and we're going to be talking something pretty serious this Friday. It's your article on the thin line between flirting and harassment. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. Let's start with, first of all, what was there a sparking incident that caused you to write it? Was it one of those articles that you wrote in like 2 minutes? Where you're like, I have to get this out.
No.
Oh, all right. What
Yes
happened?
and no, actually.
So what
I
happened?
did write it like really, really fast. But
Yeah.
what happened is I've had this idea like in my head since last year, just turning it over and over. And I remember I once talked about it with my boss, and he was like, yeah, pursue it. But then for some reason, I just kept putting it off. Then I think you were here for the first staff meeting that we did.
Sure.
I remember the MD spoke about introducing a company policy on sexual harassment and so forth and so forth. And then I put it off again. I was like, yeah, let me revisit that. And then I put it off. This is January.
Right.
And then
What today's
Was
1st of April now?
yeah, so like 3 weeks ago, I think we received the first draft. I
Ooh,
think you remember that.
The wrongs.
Yeah, the first draft on the company's sexual harassment policy. And it was interesting reading like the reactions from the colleagues and how people each dissected their understanding of what was written on the document.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, it's not really a bad idea. So I still put it off. I was like, I will still figure out how I'm going to write it. And then in the middle of the night, my introduction just happened.
Bam.
So I woke up and I started writing this story-like introduction. And I was like, you know what, this is actually sexual harassment. You know what, today is my article. And then I wrote it.
Okay. So yeah, that introduction sounds like an ominous, scary movie.
Yeah.
He smiles at her every chance he gets. It's like, okay, so let's walk through it. What have your do you think this problem is universal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very universal.
But to what varying degrees do you think Tanzanians, like where on the spectrum are we in terms of just generally speaking? Because you get some people who are more aware of the issue and want to address it because hey, listen, man, we don't have to get into specifics with people, but yeah, my policy at work is like, hey, as much as possible, just keep to myself, none of that nonsense. But you do get like lingering touches and innuendo. But I don't know. So you said the thin line between flirting and harassment. So how would you describe that thin line between are either one of them acceptable? Like flirting, for instance. You could say harassment is not acceptable, but what about like, flirting within the workplace?
The thing is, you cannot control
Right.
people in the workplace. In as much as you have these policies and rules and all of that, at the end of the day, some of these things are just biological.
Yeah. Hey,
People get attracted
that's how we
to each other
survive
all
as
the
a
time.
species.
So you
Yeah.
can't exactly put like a hard no on this. So the line itself, in the sense of flirting versus harassment, is with regards to Tanzania. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me not even say to Tanzania because I'd be lying. I've not really. This is like the first big company I've worked in Tanzania. So I would compare this to my experience, let's say, in Namibia.
Right.
Tanzanians are very social people. Not to say those in Namibia aren't social. It's just what I've realized with Tanzania is that we take our social personalities so far into the work that it becomes basically offensive when somebody tells you that you're crossing the line.
Yeah, it's like, hey, man.
We easily take offense in that.
I can get that.
Yeah, unlike if not, like I said, I'm comparing this with Namibia. You see, you go to work 8 to 5. Your contract stipulates what your requirements are and all of that. The same as Tanzania, the same as here. But unlike here, once I get into my workstation in Namibia, my phone stays on the side. I have my to-do list. I am focused on my computer.
Right.
The only time I'm going to get up and take a breath of air is maybe if I'm going to get water, I'm going to the washroom, I'm going for lunch. Of which it's like in and out.
Right.
There isn't really much time to start lingering around, and it sounds robotic and
Routine
and all of that, but it gets things done.
Right.
It gets things done.
More effective.
Yeah, it's effective.
Yeah.
We don't really have that last minute pressure to do this or to do that,
Right.
So if we become friends in Namibia, it's because outside of our work environment, we've taken the extra step to actually initiate a conversation and be friends.
Right.
But I promise you, like, Namibia was like one of those places where it was easy for me to have like a life after work, because I get out of my office, I would see people, I'm like, yeah, I work with that dude. But like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The most I'm like, hi.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Smiling
But like
and
with
nodding.
Tanzania, oh my God,
What?
like, we are so friendly.
Yeah.
I remember the first time before I started, I think this is why I tend to use my pods all the time, because it helps me tune out distractions. There was a time when I was still new, because I didn't know like how to say no to people, and I was still learning my environment. I'd find myself sitting for hours talking to people. And then doing that now creates that familiarity with people that in reality you wouldn't really want that kind of relationship.
Okay.
You make a person feel very comfortable with you to the point that they think that if they are to touch you a certain way or hug you unexpectedly or hug you from behind, you're probably just going to laugh it off.
Right.
But in reality, that makes you uncomfortable. But because you've not really defined what your boundaries are,
Yeah.
it becomes hard to later come and say that this person sexually harassed me.
And you leave room for opportunism.
Exactly.
There's some people like they know what they're doing, but it's like, hey, I can get away with this one. Right
Exactly,
here.
because
Yeah.
she hasn't really like
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
So it was a bit challenging to put this into what it is now without seeming biased,
Yeah.
especially on the story part, because I'm not the only one this has happened to.
Yeah, no, of course.
This has happened to so many people. But then with our community here in Tanzania, it's very easy to say, no, I'm just being nice. I was just offering her lunch.
Okay.
Or I was just being nice. I'm just offering him lunch. I'm just buying him lunch. Why are you buying him lunch?
So what do you think? Do you think the problem stems from the like unawareness of its like in and of itself, or is there like another element of discrepancy between like a boss and a junior worker? Does that also play into those factors?
The thing is, this is not just boss and junior workers. It's even peers.
Right.
Yeah, it goes either way. I think it's not really a lack of awareness.
Right. You think so? I feel like
I think we're aware. We know that I may be crossing the line.
Yeah.
I need to be professional, but we tend to take things so laissez-faire and we're lax about certain things. So
I got too many problems to be worried.
yeah,
What?
like flirting
Sexual
at work is one
harassment?
of those.
Like, dude, please don't. Like, I get that energy.
Yes.
You
So
know?
I don't think it's really a lack of awareness. It's that our community has been so enabling.
Yeah.
Our work environments are so enabling. You find yourself in a position where you can't exactly go to your boss and say, I feel like this person is being offensive towards me, or I'm not comfortable around this person. And once you say that, if you're a lady, chances are that person probably approached you
Yeah.
with like a sexual proposition or something and made you feel uncomfortable, or something happened between the two of you and maybe you're trying to make a point towards that person. There's always that underlying assumed reason.
Yeah. Do you think like part of the problem, at least this is my like idea of it all, I'm still trying to understand how things operate, especially here in Tanzania, but there is an element of banter, like, you know, that goes both ways. Like, I could hear a conversation, like, okay,
Yeah.
but like with both sides contribute, like making it more and more, like taking it to the next level.
I actually think I put something.
Yeah, right. And do you think at some point it's hard for women to like take a step back from that engagement? It's now you're talking about this issue, but I don't know. Like, is there ever a way for like females within the workplace to feel like, oh, I've sort of cornered myself in this place because I've been talking about this for the
Yeah.
past, but now I really just don't wanna.
Actually, I think that is almost always the
That's
case.
that's yeah. That's what I was
Because we think we're being nice and friendly and polite, when in reality we are sending those signals are interpreted as she wants me, she's interested in me, you know.